Well, you can sit in there for now until Yub-Nub comes back, but who knows when that'll be. Oh, hi folks, I'm Matt and welcome to My Expanded Universe, a show where I go through the entire EU in chronological order as best I know how. Hey folks, it's time to talk about Rebellion issues 6 through 10, but wait, hold up, stop, turn around, sit back down. Time to talk about one little comic book in between Rebellion issue 5 and 6, and that is Boba Fett Overkill. Now, this was written by Thomas Anders, and in it, the Empire is fighting with a family on the planet Truska. They're the royal family. They're the ones that control the planet. And so an Imperial officer, an underling, goes behind his, CO, and he calls up Boba Fett to come help eliminate the problem for the Empire. Now, his superiors don't know that he's called Boba Fett, and there will be ramifications because of that later on. But of course, Boba Fett has to come in there and do his thing, right? So what did I think about this story? Well, this is actually a decent Boba Fett comic book. It's kind of wild because, in my opinion, the first few Boba Fett comic books that were published seemed to me to be like the best. And the more they came out, the more I was like, it's okay. Nah, that sucks. It's all right. And was it just because at the very beginning, earlier, when we had not seen much Boba Fett, were we just excited to see him? We just loved everything he was in? Or did we, or were the stories really not as good as the first ones? I don't know. I think Overkill is above average, above that, that line here of average Boba Fett stories. I think it's above an average Boba Fett story and probably worth your time to read. Okay, now let's get into Rebellion issues 6 through 10. This was written by two writers, Rob Williams and Brandon Badeau. Now, in this series, it stars rebel spy Wild Tarson, who has had a bomb implanted in his skull by crime lord Reyes. And he's sent on a mission to destroy the hub on a planet, Hakista. Hakosta? I don't know. Anyway, Hakista, I think is how you pronounce it. Anyway, what I think about this story? Well, Weil is the focus. He's been introduced, I think, earlier in the Rebellion series as the rebel spy. He gets found out by the crime lord who, of course, has implanted this chip in his brain to explode if he doesn't do exactly as he says. So this rebel spy, Weil, is kind of torn between his allegiance to the rebellion and not having his head explode, which is something that we deal with in our everyday life, right? Now let me tell you what the hub is very briefly. The hub is basically the Emperor's top secret underground base where he basically controls his entire Imperial Navy from there. Now you're asking, why is it on this backwards planet? Why is it on Coruscant? That's a great question. Now the reason that they give, which is I guess okay, is they don't want all the controls here on Coruscant, so just in case the rebellion teams together and gets a big, invasion on Coruscant, the Emperor will still be okay because he has some of his controls spread out in other places to where if you control Coruscant, you won't destroy his Imperial network. That makes sense. I get it. So let me tell you about Weil as a character. I'll be honest, I think they were trying to build him up to be the next Quinlan Vos, a comic book character that we all love and want to see more of. That dude had the look too, man. He had the interesting look. Unfortunately, I found his character completely boring. And this is a sad thing. The story wasn't that bad. And I think if it would have been another character in his place, then I wouldn't have minded it as much. But because Weil just wasn't that interesting character, the whole story kind of fell flat for me, which is kind of embarrassing because if it was like Wes or Luke or Wedge Antilles or Hobbs or someone, I think I would have enjoyed it more. And that's weird to say that, but Weil's character just didn't do it for me, didn't interest me at all. So this one, even though the first 5 issues are pretty good of Rebellion, this is where it basically takes a step down. Not that it sucks, but the character to me isn't that interesting. Alright folks, that's all the time I have for now. See you next time with another video.